Is my microphone okay, by the way?
Yes.
I have headphones at noise cancelling, so I can't hear myself.
No, you're fine. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No issues at all. No, that is okay. Oh, that's why. Right, if I remember last week, Robbie, your character was summoned by, the Marchese to Cairo. Basically, you were summoned to help him, or I think it was to help him with your talents, with his plans, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
Which actually has ended up going to the Haven in Cairo, which is a nice little house in, I think it's called the Garden City. It is a real place in Cairo. It's a house with a wall. This is where you met Renata, Mr. Mayor. I don't think you've formally met, Mr. McLeod or the Tremere yet?
No, not yet.
The servants are Dominic De Luca, which is a 50-year-old, Italian gentleman, and Mary Quatermain, and of course you met what Becky's character calls Uncle Marco. You know as the Marchese Leonardo Sforza Colorado. So you worked in the past with the art stuff with that gentleman. Right. Yep. Now I've got to find out what you did. So just bear with me here. I think the Marchese went through. You went through some of you guys went through an exchange in the German Evangelical Church, in which you met with a woman, exchanged some envelopes, which you eventually found were actually dummies. There was actually none of them. During that, Mr. McLeod did his usual trick of running around, and strangely discovered that you were once again watched by the men in black. If I remember rightly, at least one other person has seen these already, if I remember rightly. These are the men that look the same, e.g. they look like, the easiest way to describe them, they look like clones. Like Mr. Smith's out of the Matrix sort of thing. Yeah, and they were the only ones who watched, which, if I remember rightly, caused a lot of consternation between, I think I forgot to mention the Major, didn't I? Major Smythe, the Marchese, and De Luca. They spent most of the evening talking about this and who's watching, etc. There was a letter which I've already dealt with Mr. Mayor, that's already been dealt with, so we don't need to do with that. Oh yes, you had the waking up in Cairo, Robbie, didn't you, with the coffin and the discussion?
Yes. So that was me turning up.
Yep. Exchange, which we've already covered. At the house, you were introduced to the rest of the group. You went to see your mother, if I remember rightly, Becky, and were slightly disturbed about what you saw, if I remember rightly. And you had a discussion with a gentleman in the back garden, if I remember rightly, by the name of Naram Sin, who basically said he was watching you and watching what you're doing, and what you were doing could be potentially dangerous because people could be watching. People at the moment are not watching you, but they could start to watch you, and that could be a little unhealthy. I think it's the gist about what he said. The guy was that's right, he was hooded, his skin was very white, almost porcelain.
Is that in the same way that Mr. Mayor, not Mr. Mayor, Mr. McLeod is?
No, it's more that I think if yours, it's more the older vampires would be, was it, paler in skin. I think if I remember right, his hands are white and you could see the blood underneath, the blood vessels underneath the skin. The skin was transparent. It's much like, the best way to describe it, it's much like, have you seen Blade? I think it's Blade 3 with the elder vampire there. His skin's very white and it's not wrinkled, but it's stretched over the body.
Okay.
Yeah. I think at the start of I think that's all that happened in that day. And you had an interesting start to the end of the day. You didn't do as much as I thought you'd do. But hey, that's the way it goes. I think you got to look what you had there. Oh yeah, you had a little word with Mr. DeLuca in the morning, Becky, about certain things which I won't go into, because that's purely between yourself. You had your breakfast. You had 2 letters. One of which is about Mary, wasn't it? Which were.
Hang on, I've just got to find them one moment.
Is that the one from Joseph Arkwright?
That's it.
Yeah.
Jason Arkwright. Yep.
So it wasn't actually mentioned. Mary's name wasn't actually mentioned in the letter, but
Yeah, it's implied. Well, that's probably was it implied. But we'll see. I think you sort of got it from the name of the scene, if I remember rightly. I have difficulty naming scenes. You had another talk from Marchese, who said he's arranged some meetings. Yes, he's arranged some meetings for you tomorrow night. I think what he said was he'll be in and out of the Haven all the time. He's stopping feeding you, as in the next few nights, which means you will have to hunt. No, I'm a bit ahead advantage of your mother. Alright, now basically what he said, he'll take advantage of your mother's predicament to be a good, distraction from what he's doing. So he wants you to make sure that everybody knows why you're doing here, but don't break the masquerade, and don't get yourself into trouble. Don't hunt outside of downtown Cairo unless you get permission.
Yeah. Be good, basically.
Yes.
that would be permission from the prince.
Yes, which you've still got to see at some point. Yes. Oh yes, that's all in.
Sooner rather than later.
Has Renata and the others?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, they already seen in the where was it? The Egyptian Museum.
It was the previous.
Yeah, Egyptian.
Previous.
Yeah, the Egyptian Museum. Yes. So they've already seen him, and so's Marchese. So that's why they were a bit. I think you also saw the Marchese disappear with Mary out on the town. Very pally, if I remember rightly, and you took full advantage of that by wandering off to her room, of which that Dominic DeLuca didn't open the door. He didn't see you go in. He didn't go into the room, and Mr. Mayor was to sort of disappear back to his office. so he didn't see what happened. You see,
nobody had anything to do with anything.
you see, the guy playing Mr. Mayor, he's learning very quickly. I don't think he played that often before, but he's learning very quickly the art of was it not seeing things. Which, believe me, is...
I don't know anything.
Yep. Oh, have I put the... Ooh. Ah, there it is. So I'm trying to find where the sheet's over. That's it. So that's it. So I mark where I start the first scene. Right, in Mary's room, if I remember how I described it, you found... I think, Robbie, you got one set of stuff I put in your timeline, which I'll leave there. You found computer code, you found books on psychics, in which she had written various comments about these people are, oh, I can do that, I'm better at doing this than they are, sort of thing. All the clothes there, and a computer which it looks fairly standard. I don't think you turned it on, did you, at any point?
No, we didn't.
No. So as far as you're concerned, it was standard, but there was a lot of code in there, of which I believe your character has some fair idea about computers, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Which, yeah.
I described it in chat as kind of almost that code is to what normal code is as alchemy is to science.
Yes, certainly is. This stuff is, well, as I described it, I described it as it was well beyond technology and so forth. That was not the way to describe it. There was a far better way of describing it than that. And there is. It's like alchemical formulas, if you know what I mean. And you
There is things that shouldn't be able to happen, basically.
yes.
But she's cracked it somehow.
Yes. She's gone beyond it doesn't make what as far as you're concerned it shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yep. If you actually
So I took some photos and put that through and
yes,
seeing if I can work out something about that at some point.
yes, and you I think made sure that everything's actually put back in exactly the same place as you found it.
Very carefully.
Yes, I think someone originally was using what was it? Opera gloves? Yes. Evening gloves. Yeah, evening. Yeah. Yes. I think was it Mr. Stewart came with some proper gloves this time to make sure you didn't leave anything. E.g. bits and pieces.
Yep, definitely trying.
Right. I just need to do something. I just had to type something somewhere else. You'll find that there will be bits and pieces in the text chats. You'll find there'll be bits and pieces in the text chats for you. Okay. Right.
Discord or Facebook?
Discord.
Okay.
Robbie came with a very, very good idea how to actually take full advantage of, was it Discord, which I hadn't actually thought of. And I thought was an absolutely brilliant idea.